Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I'm a relationship hacker.
Run up and get touched up, suicide. And all of y'all know my style. I excel, then prevail. Run up and get touched up, suicide, that's it. And all of y'all know my style. I excel, then prevail.
What your mom did, and I respect all mothers, so I don't say this in disrespect, but I do think that it was not a positive thing for you as a young girl growing up, and her putting that on you was telling you that you're ugly, that you're not good enough.
You're pretty girl, but to be dark. Why I gotta be pretty to be dark? Why I just can't be pretty? You know, why do I have to add that on? Being a child growing up.
He said that you was pretty for a dark-skinned girl. I'm certain what he meant was to compliment your exquisite chocolate in this white man's world. His programming has damaged his understanding and he can't see. Put a mirror on your wall and made you ask it, who was the fairest of them all? A game you could never win because of your melanin. Queen, you ain't never been fair-skinned. He was fucking with your intelligence. My woman, you were kissed by the sun and them haters can't stop it. I love the way you rock your chocolate. No
Ladies and gentlemen,
I love
the So What Morning Show back in the building.
And them haters can't stop it.
Man, that record by Truth is cold. It's called Chocolate.
I love the way you rock that. The television says
listen, I play this record because, of course, it's Black History Month. And we consider all year long is Black History. But we haven't done a specific Black History kind of show. So we're going to do one today. As a matter of fact, I think we got Truth on the line right now. Do we have Veronica? All right, we're going to go with Veronica. Community empowerment. Veronica.
Yes, sir.
What's happening? How are you?
It's going to be, it's Black. I call it Black Mastery Month.
Black Mastery.
Time to get our mastery on as opposed to our history on. It's time to get our mastery on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do a series of free trainings every day this week. So if you procrastinate or are unorganized, I got a training for you. If you want to understand selling and making big money, 4 and 5 figures in a day, I got a training for you. If you want to get your head on straight and
Jesus.
get clear about your mindset and your confidence, and then we're gonna wrap it out at the end of the week. I'm gonna talk about the new Black Power and what that really means in this era. So if you want to register for that training, it's going to be a call every day this week. You can go to tinyurl.com. That's tinyurl.com/Black Mastery Month.
Black Mastery Month. And do you have any other websites that people can connect with you on? What are those?
Yeah, they can go to theblackpaper.com. You can come to veronicaconway.com. You can get to me.
Got it. One more time, where can they find this particular course that you're going to be delivering every day this week?
Every day this week, we're going to do a different training. So
Wow.
The first one kicks off today at 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, and you're going to be on that call, right? I'm going to tear it open about business and kind of set the frame for the rest of the week. But that's at tinyurl.com/Black Mastery Month.
And listen, everybody who's listening to the show today, please connect with Veronica. I'll be on the call later on today. Hey, let's go do it. Let's support all this stuff that needs to be done in our community. This is a person who's a builder, someone who's going to make it happen. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We got all type of team members at T Radio V who have participated in some of Veronica's coaching sessions, and believe me, man, they're dynamic. They're off the hook. Thanks, Veronica. I'll see you later on this afternoon, okay?
Okay.
All righty. Yo, I hear Truth is on the line. There are a lot of people who are dying to hear what's up with the link. How come we can't get the music? Let me get PTSD right now. Poet, Explain to the people why they can't get PTSD right now. Holler at them, Truth.
What's up, man? What's up? Yo, can you hear me all right?
We can hear you.
All right, cool. Yo, the music is already up on CD Baby. It just takes a couple of days for CD Baby to approve each track. And other than that, I would say within the next day or two, it should be up. I'll be hitting you, so by Monday, everybody will be able to get every link. I appreciate the love I've been getting on Boycott Christmas. I got some real cool reviews.
Chocolate.
I'm going to keep getting the music to y'all.
They love chocolate.
I'm getting real cool reviews on chocolate.
They love PTSD. They love all of these records, man. At the end of the day,
man,
you making me look bad because you don't have no damn link. Every week I'm getting where the Truth records. How can we get the Truth records? Truth, one more time. They can find it at cdbaby.com /
You're gonna,
what?
It's going to be / Truth. At cdbaby.com, but I mean, ain't no point in going to go looking for something that's not there right now. Give it a day or two for them to approve each track. I got 8 tracks for you. 5 of them will be on the album, then there'll be 3 bonus tracks.
No doubt. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling in today to clear it up, to clear my good name that you done burnt up.
Hey, yo, man, I appreciate you bumping the music, man. Much love, man. You know I love the show, and I'm going to come back and see y'all real soon.
I got you, man. For sure. All right, I'll holler at you in a second.
Peace.
Yep. All right. That was Truth. You guys got to support him. Geoff is downstairs. Somebody open the door for Geoff. Listen, I like to promote businesses. We got Weed Juice. Got to support this brother. He comes here every Monday at around 8 o'clock with about 12 of these juices for the whole staff here at T Radio V. Support this brother, man. Black-owned business, fitness guy, fitness guru who created his own juice line that has different tiers. Now, if you're a Zoe What Morning Show fan, trust me, he can give you guys a discount. I think it's a 20% discount. I mean, he has energy, he has detox, he has fuel, the whole 9 yards, every weight loss, all of that. He could specifically design a juice package for that. Go to wejuice.com and support the brother. Of course, Real Men Don't Play. That is realmendon'tplay.com. Bobby Glanton Smith. He's not here today. He's down in Tennessee somewhere. But please continue to support Real Men Don't Play. Get Bobby's book. You can get it at Amazon.com. Real Men Don't Play. Also, Arise Hospitality Solutions. This is a black-owned business. This brother is from the islands. He's from the Caribbean somewhere. Black-owned business. Very, 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 very stacked professional business. When I say stacked, they have everything that Office Depot has. They have everything that Staples have. I mean, they have it all. Arise Hospitality. They have furniture. They have stickums. They got everything: ink toner, paper, furniture, break room, technology, hospitality. They've got it all. Arise Hospitality. Please support another black-owned business. If you're in business, do business with another black business, and that's how we rebuild our society and our culture. Ramo Mart. Gotta support this guy right here. His new line is awesome, man. His new line is incredible. Ramo Mart. Gotta support him. Easy Boy Web. Websites, social media, e-commerce, all of that. Easy Boy Web, located in Atlanta. This dude, black-owned business. They did our website. The Zoe What Morning Show website, which is really the Zoe Williams website, which is IamZoeWilliams.com. Easy Boy Web, you got to support him. What else we got? We got more. Oh, yeah. Elephant. I'm rocking the gear right now. Elephant. It's really nice. If you like polo, right? If you love polo, man, these guys, black-owned, collegiate look, have some really nice look at that, man. They got some really nice garments. Their pants, their cargo pants, their gingham button downs. very hefty stuff, man. Really nice high-end stuff. Please support Elephant. I mean, it's a business that I'm supporting, so I'm looking for you to support them as well. Also, very important, The God Class Volume 1. It's a CD that I have, but you can download the digital download right now. I did this CD, I recorded this piece in 1998. And then I put music and all types of embellishments to it in 2000, and I released it. And I never really sold it. You know, I never really talked about it until this year, or sometime last year I started talking about it, late last year. Please, please, please support this movement. A lot of people have said some positive things about it in terms of their mentality and how it's changed the way they think about religion and spirituality. The God Class Volume 1, please support that. Of course, Just Listen by Dr. Mark Goulston. You got to support that. And the biggest thing that I need you to support, listen to me now. We have a book. The book is almost done in terms of the editing. Please go to the Zoa Morning Show and Relationship Dismount Book Tour. It's an Indiegogo page. I'm asking all of my fans and listeners and supporters who respect what I do to donate to this cause. It's a multi-tiered cause that we have. We're going to self-publish this book, The Relationship Dismount, which is a breakup book, a book about how to break up effectively, how to stick the landing when you're breaking up, when you're leaving a negative or hurtful or a relationship that just ran its course. Just stick the landing. Very powerful book. We want to do a tour, a book tour to support that. The Relationship Roundtable Tour. That's one thing. We also want to put together a documentary called Pay-Per-View, where we're talking about the atrocity of the family court system. Pay-Per-View. Very powerful documentary. We have a lot of people that's going to support this in terms of in front of the camera, whether it's lawyers, entertainers who are, we trust me, it's going to be nuts. Please support the Zoa Morning Show Indiegogo campaign. Donate to us right now. With that said, we got to go. And when we come back, topics, guests, it's going down. I'll be back in 2.2. Zoa Mornings. Support that Indiegogo.
I got post-traumatic stress disorder, high blood pressure, a prescription for medical marijuana.
Are we talking about? Because our mind is so dazzled with folklore, and we cannot separate folklore from fact. Too many times we swear by folklore, not knowing that it has nothing to do with facts. Who exactly is a Jew? There was no word called Jew in the ancient world. The word Jew did not come out of Africa. It did not come out of Western Asia. It is a European word. There are people of the Hebrew faith all over the world. There are black Hebrews, there are brown Hebrews, there are yellow Hebrews. How is it that a bunch of Europeans called Jews dominate the word Jew to the extent of making you think that the very faith Hebrew is exclusive to them, leaving out all other people? All right. We become prisoners to circumstances in history. Becoming prisoner to these circumstances in history, we still react to this conquest of the mind. In slavery, we wanted to associate ourselves with the people who had escaped from something. So we read a Jewish escape story called the Exodus. And we believed it. And we didn't examine the story. Because if you examine the story, you will find that the story is told to instill faith in a people. And sometimes, if a story is told to instill faith and truth, the illustration used to get the point across need not be true.
Ever seen this man? No? Well, you're not alone. But what if he told you he is the richest human being ever in all of recorded human history? And his fortune? Wait for it. $400 billion. Yes, you heard that right. This is Mansa Musa I. Mansa, who lived in the 1300s and ruled West Africa's Mali, tops the list of 25 richest people of all time, brought out by the Celebrity Net Worth website. The list uses the annual 2,199.6% rate of inflation to adjust historic fortunes. This means that $100 million in 1913 would be equal to roughly $3.7 billion today. Interestingly, the list, which is meant to compile the top 25 richest people of all time, lists the top 26. The 26th being American Warren.
On your screen, but I'm pointing now to a river. This river flows from the mountains coming originally from Senegal, first east and then south. It's called the Niger River. And along the shores of the Niger River arose a civilization which eventually became the center of civilization in the Western world. Its headquarters was here. This is a city called Timbuktu. To those of you who are not familiar with this history, it might sound a little like a joke. Timbuktu. Timbuktu, at the time that Columbus sailed for America, was the center of Western civilization. Right here in the heart of Africa, on the shores of the Niger River. In other words, this was a city of niggers, some people would like to call them. But they outdid Whitey. Europe at this time was a mess. There was no real civilization to speak of. The Renaissance was just starting at the time that Timbuktu, down in the heart of so-called darkest Africa, was the center of world.
The musketeers in French are very much like the Japanese shoguns. Okay, same concept. And that comes out of the priesthood of ancient Kemet. The warriors, the Nubian warriors. Okay, the Moors are also very much into that. They are the ones that bring what we call, begins with a C, chivalry. Brings chivalry to France. Brings the Freemason society to France. And those Moors that bring chivalry to France, that's what the Knights Templar are based on. And that is what's going to bring forward all the other things that we see. In the Jewish faith, it's going to be masked in the Kabbalah. In the Christian faith, it's going to be masked in the Knights of Columbus. Because the Knights of Columbus is a Catholic Freemason society.
Knights of Malta, too.
Knights of Malta. Now that goes into the Mediterranean. This is all African story. This is also going to come to America, and that's who the Braves are.
This little stretch of water between Spain and Morocco is only 9 miles wide, but it's come to represent some kind of cultural chasm. But in the 8th century, when sea travel was the way to get around, that wasn't a barrier, it was a highway.
The Muslims then began an incredible process of expansion. The Muslims called the country they came to Al-Andalus, the land of the Vandals.
We don't have evidence of violence. Not at all. In this area was peaceful, and the archaeology is showing another landscape. No?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we gotta do. Wow. The So What Morning Show, we don't do this often, But we got to do a show on knowledge of self, the history we lost, the knowledge we don't know about. And look what's happening in the world today. Let me just tell you what today's topic is really quickly. Today's topic: what were black folk called before we willingly called ourselves African American, colored, black, Christian, whatever? What were we called before? This is a riveting look at the melanated seeds of the world's greatest cultures. See, we've been conditioned and socialized to believe a certain thing about our particular existence here in America.
Yeah, we started at roots.
Right. And what I'm trying to do in this show is find out why. Why don't they want you to know who you really are or who you really were? Why is it no longer important to know and embody what you used to know and embody? Why do you have to follow a particular narrative that were created by people who really, in a way, envy who you were, want to be who you were, and refuse to allow you to be that person again? Why is that? 855-878-4652. That's 855-878-4652. We're opening up the phone lines. We don't do this often. If you want to talk about today's topic, please, please, please get involved. We also have a special guest on the line who's going to help us toe the line with this particular topic. We like to bring them in. Very heavy cat. We'll teach you something about what you need to know. Trust me, if you tune into this show, you're going to get something that can sustain you for the rest of your life. Without further ado, my good friend, brother Dr. Phil Valentine. What's happening, Phil? Hello? Y'all got him? Phil.
Hotep.
There's my brother. All right, I'm glad you can make it. Listen, I know you get frustrated like I get frustrated, Phil, watching the History Channel, and then they give you, it seems like the History Channel is telling a story based off of a stereotype. So when they get to Egypt, the Egyptian always looks like a modern day Arab. He don't look black. Right? Why is it that they got to tell our story different? Now, they just started doing the modern day Arab.
With British accent.
They used to do just the white man as the pharaoh, and then everybody else is black.
I'm your pharaoh.
Why is that, Dr. Phil?
Well, first and foremost, we don't call it here at the university. We don't call it the History Channel. We call it the Twistery Channel.
The Twistery Channel. Go ahead, brother.
And these people have an agenda. It is necessary to maintain myths that Christianity did 2,000 years ago. You have to remember that the so-called science of Egyptology, which there's no Americology or there's no Europology, the very reason for the creation of Egyptology or the study of Egypt was set up by the Vatican in order to circumvent any kind of information that may be found in that particular area that would give evidence of the origins of their false beliefs. So most of what you see as the sciences, the archaeologists, this is part of a priesthood that is set up through the Masons or through the adopted or the actual circumvented Masons, which is the ones who actually took the information from out of ancient Chem and took it and particularly twisted it their way. I'm saying that the reason for that is that all of your books, Western education system, must first be censored and edited through the Vatican Library. In other words, all of the history text, all of your mathematics books, everything that has to do with Western education is first ciphered through the Vatican. Now, the necessary part of it is that you have an agenda. You have an agenda to maintain your society, your civilization, the fact that you created it, the whole 9 yards for circumvent. And get this, it's not just the Arabs that they're now showing, because the fact of the matter is God of Egypt got I'm talking about the palest cave maggot. I'm talking Snow White, completely transparent, paper white people, like Sigourney Weaver with a nose that you could turn her upside down and write with her, like just dip her nose in ink and write with it. Wow. They got these people in Africa praying gods of Egypt, or I think it was Exodus.
Yes,
and
Exodus.
So yeah. It isn't just Arabs that are getting up there now. It's white people reliving and coming back to the 1930s with Claudette Colbert playing Cleopatra.
Yeah.
And this is the type of nonsense. You have to do this, because if they were to step back and actually put the faces of the people and the people themselves into that place, then everything, 2,000 years of their bullshit would completely dissolve, and they don't want that at this time.
Jeff?
Damn. I always wondered about that kind of stuff, Doc. Just like even the whole Jesus story. How you gonna hang out with 12 dudes 2014 years ago and not one Ahmed, not one Muhammad? They all got British names, really. Everybody, John Paul, George, Ringo.
That's yeah.
Well, those are because
you have to remember who King James gave the editing job over to.
Absolutely.
It was Edward de Vere, William Shakespeare. So who the hell was talking about thou sinnest at the? Nobody speak like that back then. This was Aramaic. Actually, it was Aramaic that was translated to Greek. And then when King James came along, so he could break with the Catholic Church, he hired a cadre of people to bring together all the books that he had stolen and taken into England, and they went about the business of retooling and rewording from the Vulgate, which was the Catholic version. They put out their own 1611 version, which was published right at the time when they started, with co-innocence actually having put down the Intercatera to destroy all pagans and all Moorish sciences, everything, just conquer and take the land. If they ain't Christian, then they don't deserve to live, they don't deserve to be a human, they don't deserve to have the land.
Okay,
wow.
So basically what you're telling me then is that unlike most American black Christians think, Old English is not the language of my God, but the voice of my oppressor.
Indeed.
Okay.
In fact, if you were to go into Ballantine Dictionary, they would tell you that when you look up the word God in the old Ballantine Dictionary, I think it was something around 1800s or something.
Hey, Doc.
When you look again...
Doc,
yeah.
I need you to hold that thought. We got to go to break right now. We finna pay some bills, but when we come back, Dr. Phil will continue busting your head open with this knowledge. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
Get up off your knees instead of begging for somebody to pay your price.
Modern Egypt with ancient Egypt. These are two totally different worlds. Here we are in America, and it would be very difficult to find an American in this room. We call ourselves Americans because we are in America, we are American citizens. But there are African people here, European people perhaps, Asian people, but no Americans. I am part American, I am part Makusi Indian and part African, but it would be difficult to find an American audience that is pure American. That's why Egypt, do you go to Egypt and you said the Arab is not an Egyptian? The people who built the pyramids were not Arabs. I know, man, because I am responsible for returning to the bloody Arabs the splinters of the Sphinx's nose and chin, and the Arabs do not want to remake it because it looks Negro. But we can go into the graves. We can go into the graves and we find the hard evidence. The skeletal evidence is overwhelming. But you see, Egypt was so rich. The Africans were so extraordinary. And they were not superior people. You don't have inferior and superior people. This is what makes you superior and inferior. A certain vision of the world. A certain vision of yourself. Many of us have been destroyed, reduced, because we've been made to accept other people's vision of us.
Let's take a good look at the entire carving. It clearly shows an Indian king sitting on an elephant on the left side. You can even see another person sitting in front of him who controls the elephant. On the right side, you can see several people wearing long skirts standing on the ground. The clothed people, it also looks like they are lifting a few other people who are giving something to the Indian king. On the far right, you can see the giraffe, and there is also a young boy sitting on it. You can also see a bystander watching this entire scene. Did this meeting happen while an Indian king was traveling to Africa? It's less likely because the sculptor who carved this would not have seen it. It is much more likely that African travelers visited India way before Vasco da Gama, which is not mentioned anywhere in history. And whether this journey took place through land or water, it is truly a remarkable feat to bring a giraffe alive through such a long trip. So now we know that India was connected to Africa centuries before what the history claims. It also proves that ancient Africans had a very advanced civilization that was capable of making journeys to other continents. Thanks to the Indian sculptor for carving such an accurate scene, because without this, we would just be depending on mainstream historians.
So my question is history the greatest form of propaganda ever?
Wow.
Is it really about, because what happens if we really know? If we really knew what we were? What kind of advancement would that afford us? What would that have, how would that have changed us? Imagine if we knew who we were, right? Through slavery, and we never lost that knowledge. What would we look like today?
Well, first off, slavery would have been shorter.
Ooh.
Slavery would have been a hell of a lot shorter, because that was the problem. What you don't hear about in history, what you don't hear about is how many Nat Turners there were. How many you ain't telling me you're gonna get all these Zulu hunters, warriors together and don't know shit go down? You didn't browbeat them all? Not at the beginning. But we don't hear about that. All you hear about is, and thankfully it brought some light to it, but the roots version of slavery. There's plenty of ships that got sunk, plenty of plantations that got burnt smooth to the ground, and plenty of white folks that met they end messing with slaves.
Wow. Phil Valentine, can you speak to us about that? What would we, I mean, we can only speculate right now, but what would we look like had we still had this knowledge of self, this understanding that we seeded India, we seeded China, we seeded the Americas, right? What would that do for us as a people?
Well, everything that you're seeing happening regarding the earth itself would be completely different. I have a saying by what the Romans called Hermes, what the so-called Greeks called Thoth, and what we called Jehudi. And Jehudi said, as towards the ending of the time when Kemet was actually on its downward spiral, because when Kemet was actually discovered, it was discovered at the time when Europeans were rising and it was falling after 10, 20,000 years. So this writing, it says, O Kim, there shall remain for you, for future generations, only fables that no one will believe. Nothing of you shall endure save the words carved in stone. So our ancestors knew how to maintain the legacy of what was being destroyed. and put it into stone in the form of pictographs. Now, metaphysically speaking, pictographs are what our brain operates on. Our brain operates in pictures, not in words. So our ancestors knew that in order for them to be able to have the continuity in the seeds and legacy that followed, it would be necessary to make sure that that part of their own mitochondria would be awakened by just simply viewing the Medu Neter and intoning words that would give to the living energies that would reignite the memory of who the ancestors were. Dr. Small said to me at the time when Kemet was being destroyed or being attacked, even before and then after Menet, that all of those who were the refugees at that time went to what is now looked at as south and west, into areas that were pretty much a animal preserve, the Serengeti, the desert areas. This is where all of the ancient Kemites went to. So they became the strangers of those parts of the land. So the people that are here are actually the mitochondrial children of the ancient children of Kem that actually were the refugees of Kem when they were being destroyed. So that's why Kem is rising in the west, and why there's such a heavy influx of the peoples awakening to that area. So, of course, we were here too.
Dr. Phil, let me ask you this question too. That's heavy. A lot of people think Christianity is a European construct, that Europeans created it. But there is an older version of Christianity. Can you go into that history?
Yes, there's the Copt, and it all came out, of course, Kush, Nubia, which actually then transcended. Kush, Nubia is the root, and Kemet is the fruit. Okay? So you have to look at the transmigration of consciousness into a more sophisticated representation of what was actually at the root. Christianity, or what we call Christ, or Krishna, as you said, as the woman so eloquently said, was part of ancient Kush. The mother and the father already named the son Greece. Greece was the name of the son, just like back when Constantine was trying to put together this version of Ptolemaic edifice that was being created out of the Cushitic religion, where Ptolemy had taken over Kemet at that time. That's who the priesthood is now in Rome. They are the offshoot and the children and the legacy of Ptolemy. That's who the popes are.
Right.
That's the Ptolemaic line, the bloodline.
Right.
So when you're looking at that situation and you're seeing it for what it is, Greece was the name of the sun, or the black dark matter. Krishna means the perfect black, which was what we call that which was the sun, which was God, which was Sambo or Shambhala, who they call us Sambo right now, but Shambhala was the name of the creator that was not seen. And then, of course, in the West, the so-called Druids, who were also from the Dravidian line, the Buddhistic line, they called the sun Hessus. And so when Constantine began to take all the pieces of what it is that the Christosites at the time of Rome, when they put him in power, he began to consolidate it into a nationalistic thought. Because at that time, Rome was pretty much a kind of, super conscious, very intellectual city where everybody used to come, like ancient Kemet, and to barter back. But when Constantine came to power, he began to consolidate all of that into a national religion under the Christosites who had helped him to ascend to the throne. So when he wanted to get into him along with Eusebius of Caesarea, when they wanted to put together their consolidated theology, they began to borrow the sun's name from the west, which was Hessus, and the sun's name from the east, which was Christos. And they created, through the storyline of Apollonius of Tyana, Hessus Christos, or Jesus Christ.
Wow. It's so cold. The game is so cold, right? So look at it and then they flip it this way. All the original stuff, right? Let's just call our culture the original stuff. All that stuff gets called evil.
Yeah.
While they're still following it, then they remix a version for you.
Right.
And then now you follow that. You don't follow your own no more because your own is evil.
Right.
But we're still following it.
So basically, yeah. So basically, they still eating real food out the ground and gave us religious GMOs.
Nice one.
Dr. Phil, question, sir. What do, and this is kind of, I'm alluding to my rant. What do black Christian scholars, the pimps, I mean the pastors.
The who?
The pastor. I'm sorry. They both start with the letter P, and they both basically mean the same thing.
Damn.
What do they say when you say this to them? Because usually what happens to me is they try to tell me the first place black Christians go when you go against what they saying is that what you have to understand is, as if you the one ain't reading. So
you don't understand the gospel, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. What do they say to you?
You have Christians who are aficionados and intellectual, intellectual experts of what are called the dead letter word. Now, the Bible is a series of astrotheological, geometric, metaphysical teachings that our ancestors, if they were to return today to see what these pastor pimps were talking to the people, they'd laugh these people out of the church. In fact, they would be so sad they'd cry and walk away and said, I don't know what the hell happened. They put everything into symbology. You have to understand that we never estranged ourselves from mother. Everything we did was actually, everything that life represented was symbolic of the words and language of nature. So when you see the animals being represented for something, when you see people doing certain things, meaning certain things, it is because as African scientists, as melanated scientists, we had what is known as a way of interfacing with the knowledge. In other words, instead of us assigning a name to what we think that thing is that we are observing, we will wait for the thing to name itself. Whereas the European has this thing called impositional analysis. He'll look at something and he'll define it based upon his limited, very receptive mind. So he has to limit everything to this particular name. And in his credo under the Phoenicians, if you name it, you own it.
Listen, we gotta take wait. We gotta take a quick break, Phil.
My God.
You gotta let him breathe a little bit, Phil. Let him come up for a little bit of breath.
We gotta get him on with Noel Jones at the same time.
Jesus. Hey, we'll be back at 2.2, the So What Morning Show. What were we called before we were called all this other stuff? We'll be back at 2.2. Holla!
To bring you back to life so I could kill you again. Your world is a twisted labyrinth of lies and loose ends. Your breath has become poison. But make no mistake, when the sun breaks through, I promise you that you.
では、日本人の祖先はアフリカからどのようにして日本列島にやってきたのでしょうか。私たちの祖先の一部は中近東を経てヨーロッパに渡る集団と分かれアジアに移動しました。人々は移り住んだ土地の環境によって白人、黒人、黄色人種という特徴を獲得していきました。気候風土の違いの大きいアジア大陸ではモンゴロイドも多様に変化していきました。その中に12000年前に日本列島に移動し縄文の文化を築いた集団がいたのです。それからさらに1万年後、別の集団が再び日本列島に渡ってきました。
However, there is something that could settle this debate of where the Chinese come from once and for all. I'm meeting Professor Jin Li, one of China's leading geneticists. Recently, he led a project that set out to prove that the Chinese evolved independently from everyone else, from Homo erectus, here in China.
Before the project started, I was hoping that I could identify or could be able to find the evidence that support independent origin of Chinese in China, because I'm a Chinese and came from China, and through the education process, I always believed that there's something special about Chinese.
He singled out a male genetic marker which only appeared about 80,000 years ago in Africa. So any man who carries that marker must have recent African ancestors and can't be descended from the more ancient Asian Homo erectus. Jin took DNA from over 160 ethnic groups around East Asia. Over 12,000 samples. And so, what did you find?
We did not see any, even one single individual that could be considered as the descendant of the Homo erectus in China. Rather, everybody was a descendant of our ancestors from Africa.
Everybody from Africa.
Everybody, yeah.
Even China.
That's where it started.
Now, here's the gangster part of it. Here is the gangster part of it. In America, they say 16, 17, 19, 20,000 years ago, there was the Innu, the Native Americans. Where did the Native Americans come from? They'll say, oh, they migrated from the north,
Bering Strait.
from the Bering Strait, out of China, up through Russia, across the Bering Strait. Now, this video just illustrated that everybody in China, everybody in Japan, African descendants. So how then are the Native Americans some different group of people? Now remember, according to the fake story, Columbus came here thinking here was the backside of India.
Right.
Which is why he started calling these people Indians. What did the word India mean? Didn't it depict indigo? A skin color? A blackness? A black purple? Black purple, right? So we're going to turn the black purple into a historical stereotype that is later rendered the red skin. First off, the red skin, no matter how indigenous you want to make them, were mixed. Now, who did they mix with? Do you see that? People don't, they don't want to talk to us, Dr. Phil. Save us from this bullshit. Come on, man.
Well, you look like you're doing a good job by yourself. I'll tell you this. They forgot the other migration from the southern part of India. See, the Indians had their own Imhotep.
Oh.
And he created the science of space-time, of decoding space-time and how creation came through space-time. His name was Mahmuni Ma'ayan. He was the Imhotep of the Dravidian. And the story is that not only were we migrating all over the planet, because as I said in Hidden Colors, the deeper they dig for evidence of their own origins, the blacker the planet gets. I said that there is no place on this planet that we are not. And every place they dig, they find us, even up there in the north, before I answer this question about India. In the northern part there by the Mediterranean, where they supposedly dug up a brand new city that had sunk into the ocean, you saw that they made this incredible revelation after they chopped off the noses before they took the picture of the people down there. How are you going to be down there and the very intricate parts, your eyebrows, the very delicate earlobes, the lips, everything's intact except the damn nose just gets chopped off. It's like everywhere that nature goes, that everything, the storms, everything, the seas, maybe even the fish, they knock off the nose, and somehow they tell you it's tectonic problems and the whole 9 yards. All that to make sure that they cover up. The same way they gave you this BS about Nefertiti. That statue of Nefertiti is bullshit. And in my book, Cosmic Codex, I show exactly where that statue actually came from, that Hitler had. But to tell you about the Olmecs, or the people that were actually called the Tamu'an Khan, okay, or the Z people who came from the southern part of India and went around the Cape of Africa into where we see now as the Gulf of Mexico, to become what you see now as the so-called Olmecs. which meant rubber people. They didn't call themselves that. It was a person who was the manager of the Indian Museum in 1921.
See? But let me just say this, too. The youth of today, and the generation X, Y, Z, the millennials, all of this and that, they don't give two shakes of a fat rat's ass about this information.
I got them new Jordans.
And my question is, how do we connect the dots? Because I've always said, black people in America are so far behind that once we find out this valuable knowledge that the great doctor is giving us right now, that we got to get over it. We got to get past. Once we find out who we are, then we get over it and move forward. We can't even move forward until we get the past. So how do we connect to them right now and get them in the space to where this information is interesting? Because most people are saying, oh, these old Hotep niggas, everybody want to be Egyptian. These niggas, they don't even value this information. Geoff?
I think what needs to happen is shit needs to get worse. It's not bad enough. It's not bad enough. Until Puffy and a homeless black man are being chased down the street by the same Klansmen. Until then, until the dollar collapses, which is the thing that black people love to separate one another with, until that dies, we don't have any impetus to be together. The first move, as soon as you get some money, I'm getting the hell away from the ghetto. I don't want to be. I can't stand living around all one people. I don't want to live around all black people. Okay, well, guess what? As soon as this shit hits the fan, you ain't gonna have nobody else to turn to, and that's when when we got to start laying these blueprints out in caves, because we done been forced underground. Then,
so
well, you're right.
Speak to it, Doc.
Right on the head. It's got to be in the home first. That's why we created the University of Commission Sciences and the Institute for Self-Mastery for the Children. We do homeschooling here for the parents, and more the parents are saying, look, the hell with this Western education system. I can see that they're damaging because they send their children with this incredible intelligence, with this genius, and they keep getting back these ADD, supposedly attention deficit children. So, like Malcolm said, if you keep sending your children to the enemy to teach, what else is coming back into your house but the enemy? So you have to know that you have to take the first thing, and I've said this in one of my lectures called Lockdown USA, snatch your children out of these schools en masse. And here's the solution. The solution is they have adult teachers from old school education systems that they have. Reading, writing, and arithmetic, that type of thing. Our story, which is my story, is mystery. We have the mystery, they have the his story. We deal with my story, which is the mystery. So my story is, I will deal with the mystery of myself. My story says that I will take the elders who are teachers 30 and 40 years in the system, who know the old system, and give them a stipend. If all of us can get our children out and just get a little building, a little tiny schoolhouse or something that somebody could actually rent out, and then pay these students each one. You get 25 parents. 20 parents are paying $20 or $30 a week, maybe even $50 a week, and you pay the stipend for this teacher. Set up your own classes to teach your children what you want them to be taught.
But see,
it's easy.
But see, Doc.
People don't do that.
But see, Doc. Let me just say this before we go to break. Black education is like pro-kids. White education is like Jordans.
Wow.
That's how black folk look at it. Listen. Listen. How many black people out there? Y'all could call us right now. 855-878-4652. How many black people out there would rather go to an HBCU than UCLA? UCLA is the number one. They get the number one applications. They get more applications to attend that school than any other school in the nation. How many of you would choose
football?
But how many of them would choose to go to Grambling over UCLA? Most of them go to UCLA over Grambling. Black
Well, I
people.
can tell you that.
I'm just saying, black people
I can
look
tell you
at
that,
black
yeah.
stuff. We don't even
devalue black
dude,
stuff.
we devalue black stuff. We don't even put our recycle our money into black businesses. So what makes you think we're gonna appreciate a black education over a white one? We'll be back at 2.2 to deal with that. Let's holler.
Andre McDay, Kimani Gray, Jordan Davis, Oscar Grant.
I'm glad we had this subject today. I'm glad we got Dr. Phil here. I say this all the time. These are three things I can't figure out how to be at the same time: a black man, a Christian, and a reader. I have to pick two. If I'm gonna be a black man and I'm gonna read, ain't a way in hell I can be a Christian. If I'm gonna be a Christian and a reader, then my blackness has to take a back seat. If I'm gonna be a black man and a Christian, I got to say fuck reading, which is basically where Christianity starts with black folks. Christianity was given to black folks before the right to read was. I like to say that most black people in America are born Christian. Then they learn how to read and it all goes to shit. I challenge ministers. I challenge churchgoers. I dare you to go to your minister, whoever he is. You know, the big three, T.D. Jakes, Noel Jones, Bishop Blake, any of the ones that got huge churches, they know the same shit we putting down today. They know. They just pimping you with it. I double cockeyed dare you to take the Pepsi challenge with the shit you being told every Sunday and tell your minister what you heard today. We're going to give you Dr. Phil's number. You need to get on a three-way with Noel Jones, Dr. Phil, and you, because you are being pimped. Hit a black Christian with facts and logic, he'll hit you right back with warm and fuzzy. Test your God. Test everything. My God stands up to test. The God that I serve is not covered in the book because the God that I serve doesn't hate gays so much that he custom made them just to hate. If God made everybody, then God made gay people too, and he made them just so he'd have somebody to hate? Is that how that works? My God doesn't hate black people. My God doesn't hate women. So again, as a black man and a reader, that's why I'm not a Christian, and I dare you to call me on it.
Damn. Today's topic. What were black folk called before we willingly called ourselves African Americans, Christian, colored, black, whatever the shit we call ourselves.
Porch monkeys, jungle bunnies, spear chuckers, niggers.
That was a powerful intellectual rant, Geoff. We got to ask that question. We got some people on Twitter right now that are saying, the millennials, that are saying, listen, and I want y'all to hear this very carefully. This sister on Twitter, her name is Michelle Flocka Flames, says, most of us love our history. She's speaking of the millennials, her age group. Most of us love our history, but most of our parents, people our parents' age in that group, told them, just go get a job and conform.
Oh, yeah.
So when we talk about conditioning, when you talk about social engineering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every government is a social engineer. Why? Because I'm going to engineer what you think about every aspect of your life. whether it be relationships.
The 4 food groups.
Right? Here go economists. Okay, we're going to create some bullshit called equity theory. Right? An economist created that, and that term, not the actual term, but that concept, that ideation will fall out of the mouth by default of most motherfucking men and women you speak to. And it comes out of the mouth like this. Well, she's got to bring to the table what I bring to the table. We have to bring equal to the table. Well, who created the concept of that? An economist, not somebody who specializes in relationships. So again, social engineering deals with every aspect of your life and it engineers it. So Jesus is where we're going for this country, for religion. That's the default belief system. Yeah. Jesus. We're going to have social engineering in place because we have education. So education will say if you got a good education and I got a good education, we should be able to both get good jobs. Well, all the goddamn graduates that are millennials right now are starting to recognize just because you got a piece of paper don't mean that you got employment.
That's a $150,000 receipt.
You see? So, again, all of this bullshit is in place right now, and we're following a social template that wasn't necessarily created for your benefit, but it definitely was created for your servitude.
Yeah. Well, we've outlived our usefulness as a race. Okay, we are going the way of the horse and buggy. Okay, we needed you niggas to build shit. Well, now that it's built, well, what we gonna do with y'all? We can't send you back. Africa don't want you. So I tell you what, why don't we just kill them all off and put them all in jail and start over this slavery thing? We'll just start it from behind bars, which is why I need somebody to tell me or disprove the theory or the rumor that Michael Jordan has invested in privatized prisons. I need to hear
We
that.
need to know that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have Dr. Phil Valentine, and in studio guest just walked in late. Corey Holcomb is in the building as well. Again, I believe because we have believed a lie, as Dr. Phil said, our history is a mystery and his history is history, the way he's telling it. Yeah. Because we bought into this bullshit, I believe we take on these endeavors that to me are fruitless. For instance, Al Sharpton is suing, I guess, Comcast or somebody. I think
Stay Soft From.
He's suing somebody for discrimination. And I've always used this as an example. Black people are like homosexual people in a lot of ways. Homosexuals want to fight their way into Christianity. Jesus is going to accept us. God is going to... Wait a minute. That book was written from a perspective that said you motherfuckers is an abomination.
Yeah. God's not too clear.
You'll never be able to unwrite that.
That God's not too clear on what color car you ought to drive, but he is pretty clear about that whole...
Right.
Sweet pickle shit.
So the homosexuals fight for diversity in a religion that don't want them.
Don't even want them.
And black people fight for diversity in a system that don't want them. So you go back to 1990 and the Oscars, you'll see Kim Basinger reading for or getting ready to reveal movie of the year. The shit is on YouTube. You can see it. Kim Basinger, she's about to reveal who won the Oscar for the movie of the year. And before she does it, she shouts out Spike Lee and Do the Right Thing. Well, you know, this movie isn't a part of this, but we have to acknowledge it because that was a great movie and it's wrong that it's not up here, you know, being nominated or considered for one of these awards. So, again, fighting the same fight over and over, talking about diversity. Diversity empowers fucking white supremacy. Corey?
So you be ranting, man. I don't even want to stop you sometimes.
Come on, man. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, man. I have like this weekend or last Friday, I did an interview on the Breakfast Club.
I saw it.
Yeah, we saw it.
And what you saying in this dojo,
Right.
dojo, or whatever you'll call it, is just not something that people can say if they are getting a check from the
powers
government.
that be, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm just emphasizing that point again because I've been out in the field for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We filmed Wildin' Out. We filmed, some things, and all this stuff you saying, it's amazing me that I'm back in the lab now. You know what I'm saying? When we can speak the
On
way
some
we're
things.
speaking,
Right, yeah.
because I was around people who I know in their heart want to talk like you talking right now,
but just can't.
But they couldn't. So me being in the field, I was just watching everything. I was like, wow, this is different, man.
Right.
Because I haven't been out here like this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Working for a production or whatever. And, things that I say, it may catch up with me in a way that there's nothing I can do about because I'm not saying nothing bad about nobody. I'm just speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And what you're doing right now, Zoe, you're speaking the truth, and it's good you're speaking it, and it's reaching people. It's entering their ears, their minds, their hearts. It's just the way it's set up now, they cannot speak that way because they need to be able to pay those bills.
Wow.
And I just wanted to remind you of that because,
Wow.
I'm out there. I saw those people all week.
Wow. Dr. Phil, let's give it to Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil? Doc,
Yes,
you there?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here.
Just give us
hello?
Yes, give us some insight. Like what are the top 3 books that somebody who wants to know this kind of stuff? Cuz I want to know, does knowing this stuff make your life any better? Does it raise you up to a different level? I mean, speak to us about that.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to dovetail from what you're saying about the academy. That's another symbolic theft of your ancestors' mentality because the very goddamn Oscar is Ptah, and sitting up there is a knockoff of the god Ptah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at them playing, like dressing up like in daddy's clothes and mama's clothes when they playing Egyptians and stuff, it just seemed to me that you got a cave maggot, a Neanderthal, who's essentially copied everything that had to do with it. And so he's taking over where we are and kicking us into the bush where he was. Your question related to how we can address this or what kind of books we would look to, or I forgot what your question was again. Hit me up with that again.
Yeah,
something was in the back of my head.
That was it. For somebody who's searching for this information, what direction would you point them in? What book would they read? What 3 books would you recommend?
But you know something, brother who came in, sorry, I didn't catch your name again. You said the name once, and I'm Corey. Yes, Corey. It's interesting that you were out there and looking at the way what I call the Walking Dead have to operate. They operate on just pure instinct, and what they have is actually a programmed instinct, a perversion of their own instincts. They can't act on what is natural. And so what you have is what I call nanogenetic mind control. Through the food and through what they are in the environment, breathing and living every day, they are being terraformed at the instinctive level to not have to respond to what they need. And this is what Krishnamurti, he said that it is no feat to be sane or to be well adjusted in a sane society.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you know what?
Yeah, so when you have a sick society and these people are walking around like drones with another conversation in their head while it's disconnected from the actions that they have to perform every day, you're dealing with a form of insanity that will not last. And I will say to you that the very conversations that we're having right now is permeating the Akashic records. And all things that change things that are now happen in the invisible, unnoticed, uncensored. It happens in the invisible realm before it becomes visible. It is a process coming to the surface. You don't see that bud coming from the seed, but when it peeks through the surface, you get an idea. And right now, we have a stem, a bud of this consciousness that you're talking about is now peeking through the surface right now. And it's looking around at the world, and it's about to become the oak. It's about to become the redwood that's going to take over all this shit. Trust me.
Wow,
this is not something that will be stopped. You are doing what is necessary, brother. Don't worry about that. But the books you're talking about, are the books that we essentially have online at our university. You could start with those.
Okay.
Krishnamurti being one of them.
Okay.
And they have other books. There's
Phil,
one book that this European woman wrote called The Greatest Story Never Told by Lana Cantrell. She drops it about how the Europeans, and she being a European and Seminole woman, she mixed up. And she wrote this book about how the history of the white man came about and where that history actually is and where to find it.
Wow.
And it's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
So Phil, this is what we got to do. We got to take a quick break. We're gonna come back. You're gonna finish with your books, telling us what books we should get. We'll be back at 2.2, taking a quick break. So what morning show? What were you called before all this other shit? We'll be back in 2.2.
March till your feet bleed. Pull up your hands if you cannot understand why them killing you. Your melanin is worth more than gold. Your motherfucking organs is being bought and sold. They calling it the black market. What are you afraid of?
Hey, I'm Dean Kane, and you are watching T.
Is the beginning of the European. Now, the pink African also started to undergo certain changes, like ice produces a narrow nose. The parts of Africa, you have Africans with narrow noses too, because dry heat produces the narrow nose. So that man is one. There are no races really. You have the African as the beginning of the human race, but the others are mutations. They're not races in the true sense of the word. Race is a social concept. That was to come later. And after the slave trade, when Europe conquered Africa, etc., then blackness and color became associated with being in a low position, so that therefore colors and races became associated with certain things. Those are things that are going to pass as we recover our history and transform ourselves. But initially, you have the pink African who becomes the European. He undergoes certain changes over a period of time. For example, in the ice, it's important to have long hair to protect the neck from cold. In heat, it's important that you have short hair follicles so that heat can escape. These things have nothing to do with inferiority or superiority. They have to do with environmental environmental necessities, environmental imperatives. So that you would find in Africa, some people have narrow noses where there's dry heat. Some people have thinner lips, some people have fuller lips, some people have close cropped hair, some people have wavy hair, etc. This has nothing to do with inferiority or superiority. It doesn't even have anything to do with beauty. Because the first great Europeans who met the first great Africans, the Greeks, when they went to Egypt and they met the blacks, they thought black was beautiful. It was quite the opposite, because the first whites were so startled by black achievement in Egypt and so many whites came to study in Africa, in Egypt, that they associated great intelligence and great beauty with blackness. They actually began to take black gods, because the first, for example, Europeans started to worship Isis, a black goddess. They started to have temples to Isis. Eventually, later on, Horus, who was the son of Isis and the son of Osiris, the male and female aspects of God, Europe initially worshipped the black Christ. So that this kind of racism that later occurred after the slave trade, this assumption about blackness associated with inferiority, that's a later thing in history. And you see, we are overwhelmed at the moment by that period, so that we have forgotten what really happened in the history of the world.
So the first human beings.
Wow. Just because they're racist, it doesn't mean they don't still love you. But they have to control you some kind of way. So they create a construct called racism that makes white all right and black whack. That's the only way. But they love you. They love your culture. They love your lips. They love your skin color. They love the texture of your hair. They're telling you blonde is the look, straight is the look, while at the same time they're getting a permanent so they can get their hair curly.
Do you disagree with this, though?
Go ahead.
Whenever a Caucasian person is talking to you,
here we go.
For the most part, They are trying to set you up. Do
In
you
a lot of
disagree
ways,
with
no,
that?
I don't disagree with that. In a lot of ways, that has been my experience. And I'm talking about not in an absolute way, but in a general way, yes.
The first thing I think of is, why are you talking to me and I know how you feel? So,
but
I don't know.
But that's why I say not in an absolute way.
Yeah, I don't know if I get trying to set me up as much as when they talk to me, I feel like the reverse of the Planet of the Apes. Remember when the apes were amazed with Charlton Heston? Like, how is this motherfucker talking?
He talking.
He can talk. Yeah. They look at it and it pisses me off because I usually get this. You're not like the rest of them. Well, that's where you're wrong. It just so happens that I will fuck you up. I just have lawyers to help me out with my shit.
I know what you're saying. White people like bougie relatives.
Yeah.
They only fuck with you if you got talent.
Why are they talking to you? Which is what I think most black people should say when they are talking to you, because you're not trying to be rude. Just say, why are you talking to me?
Because they're enamored by you.
A lot of times they catch it. They get what you're saying. Like, oh, he knows I'm up to something.
Right. Dr. Phil, can you help us with that? Go ahead.
Well, you know, I have a thing where white people come up to me when I'm wearing my ornaments and my ankhs and stuff, and they have this touchy-feely thing that kind of transcends from their own title of privilege, where they can touch the slave and do anything they want, breach that 6 degrees of separation in order to come in to what they believe to be some kind of subconsciously their own property. I had to somehow bend, you know, I had to kind of slap the hand away before they reach at it. And they go up to my wife because she has long, beautiful locks. You know, they go up and, oh my goodness, oh, you know, it's like, you know, who are these creatures? Like we just landed in the saucer and shit.
What is that, velvet?
You have to look at it. You have to look at it as their own ignorance too. You know, you say black people ain't got a clue. Well, the worst people, worse than black people who ain't got a clue, is white people who ain't got a clue.
Yeah.
Because they are seriously living an illusion, this American, you know, flag-waving bullshit, and this thing with Sniper, you know, this guy, he's a racist piece of shit who said, you know, everybody he killed deserved it, men, women, and children. So they have this Americana that they have been given, and they've suckled on the tit of this American bullshit for so long that they have become exactly what the government needs to be the barricade or the bulwark against the incursion of that black planet that they are so afraid of.
Hey, Dr. Phil.
We had to see them as ignorant.
Hey, Dr. Phil, Corey Holcomb has a question for you.
Yeah.
No, well, I do have a question about earlier, something I said earlier, but I want to say in response to what he just said. But another thing I noticed about Caucasian people, when they are alone with you, they're not as confident. But when they're in society where a police officer is on call, they are very cocky.
Hey,
or when
buddy.
they have the numbers, right?
Come on.
That's what I've noticed. But on what I was talking about earlier, Doc, look, man, so I'm glad you said what you said, because you know, I'm visiting the world. I find a way to escape the world, to be quite honest. But when I was in New York for these 2 weeks, I was visiting the world, where I was out there with the people who basically they make their living by doing what they have to do to please the beast. That's what I call it.
Placating the beast.
And it was very depressing to me, because some of these people have good hearts. It's just, this is how they are raised and trained to conduct themselves. So I was going to my hotel room, and people don't even know. I feel like I'm in a world where I'm not wanted, because I know there's a lot of people who like it that way. So when I hear what you said about, you know, everything is coming, you know, all the bullshit will be shown, it makes me feel better, because, man, when you around your people, and you see how they have been trained to stop you from thinking independently.
Right. It's like the government. The government is
Mm.
that dude with the little music box on the corner, and the African American is the monkey tap dancing.
It's
I'm
real.
sorry. That's
You'll get people who don't mean no harm, and I believe they don't even realize they're doing it, but they'll walk up to you and be like, "Oh, don't do that. Don't say that. But you didn't say nothing bad. I was like, what did I do? So that's what I was exposed to, and after hearing what you said, it made me feel a lot better.
I have a book that I want.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I'm sorry. It's funny you should say that about the monkey and the organ grinder. Your boy Pharrell is actually heading that little show up. You see him dressed. They've been coming at him in his little organ grinding suit. He says he's doing honor to little bellboys. But I mean, the only thing he needs walking next to him is whoever it is, his partner, whoever it is, with the organ grinder.
Yeah.
And
when
that's
he ain't dressing
essentially
like
what
Billy
he's being
Jack.
played off as. And so, yes, this is the people who have to buck dance. These are the buck dancers of our society. They got to buck dance in order for them to get the coins thrown up on stage, because they have to be on stage, because what are they doing except acting?
Wow. Listen,
they like
really
to cry
quickly.
in public too. I saw the Oscars. A lot of those guys were crying in public because that's a way to get accepted by the boss man.
Wow. Really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Really
Yeah.
quickly, I have a book I want you guys to get. The book is called Black Spark, White Fire. Did African explorers civilize ancient Europe? It's by Richard Poe. It's a white man. I like throwing books that's written by white people that tell the truth, because there's a section of African Americans that only listen to what white people say. When black people tell you the truth,
They
don't
Then
listen.
they need to get the Iceman Inheritance.
The Iceman Inheritance. That's another book.
By Michael Bradley. Michael Bradley. The opening credits, the acknowledgement, the opening introduction written by Dr. John Henry Clark.
Wow.
He's a white Canadian who dropped the bomb.
Wow. So listen, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, Dr. Phil, Corey Holcomb, of course, Geoff Brown, and myself, and my homeboy Kevin is on the line. This dude is a heavy dude. He gonna drop something too. We'll be back at 2.2. Listen to this PTSD truth. Holla!
Medical marijuana. I just quit smoking Newports, and now I eat twice as much as I used to and cuss niggas out for no reason. My woman always be bitching.
The next thing is, what does it say? The paralysis of analysis by those who believe in it. Oh my God. What does that mean? Just what it says. Those who take on this belief system suffer from a disease that I refer to as a paralysis of analysis. You don't think. You were indoctrinated. I was indoctrinated. Now, what does that mean? That means that the church took its doctrine and put it into your mind. That's what indoctrinate means. So when you, as an African, have been indoctrinated with Euro-Gentile philosophical thought, you are out of your mind.
Eurocentric scholars had rejected the idea that the mighty Egyptian empire was in fact created and maintained by black Africans. The concept that Western civilization was the product of non-white intelligence, imagination, technology, and spirituality was unacceptable, both psychologically and politically.
Western Asian people copied Nile Valley folk stories, personified themselves into the story, and sold you your own story, and you bought it.
Wow. Man, I don't know. I don't know if y'all.
I'm mad
if
at
y'all
you.
I don't know
I'm
if y'all
mad at
watching
you.
these videos, right?
I'm mad at you.
Why you mad at me?
Because you don't never had no Bible thumpers on when we doing this shit.
Listen,
I would love to have one of them. Shummin' coming and shoulda come in the Chevy. Thank you, Jesus. Motherfuckers here.
No, but
right
the reason why we don't have them on for these kind of shows, I mean, and we could. It's just gonna be an argument. See, I want
argument where they won't come with no facts.
They won't come with no facts,
their opinions.
and it'll turn into a scrum. So what I want to do is present this information without resistance.
I'm from 60th and Damon. I like
so
that.
people can see it.
Baptist churches are places where you go get pussy when you don't want to be in the club all night. It's the early morning club.
Yeah, and it's easier.
The church is an early morning club.
And you don't buy the money you would buy the bitches drinks with, that's what you put in a collection plate.
I challenge anybody to take me to their typical little Baptist church and let me work in there. I will get pussy in your church.
Before first Sunday.
Probably the day I meet them.
Before first Sunday.
Just like a club.
I'm fucking 2 altos before first Sunday.
So let us right, Dr. Phil.
There's no discipline with the women
at all.
At the average Baptist church. They are the same bitches was at the club last night.
Victimized.
And I know this because I wake up and drop them off at church.
Oh God.
This is a fact.
That's the truth.
So listen, we y'all wait a minute.
They
Jeff
be in
and
church
Corey.
with the little club dress on.
If
talking
you-
about God know my heart.
If you can't get laid in church, you need to cut your dick off and donate it to science. Because you ain't doing nothing with it. You ain't using it
Okay,
right.
here we go.
If you want to get
We got
rich,
a
be a
caller.
preacher.
We got a caller. My homeboy Kev is on the line right
God
now.
is good.
God is good.
And good all the time.
All the time.
Thank you, Jesus.
Brother Kevin.
Yo, what's
this
up?
is this one of my friends. I've been knowing him for over 15 or at least 18 years.
Wow. Okay.
You know. And we've been studying. This is a dude who has a private library of all this information that we talk about. Like when I say, "Hey man, I need a book," I call this dude.
You?
Yeah. When I say I need a book, I call this dude.
Zoe reads like a felon.
Right? This dude is cold. but let me just tell you why he's on the show and why it's important. Because all of the shit we talking about, like I said before, we got to get knowledge of self, get our culture, just so we can catch up with the rest of the world and get over it.
Get your life. Yeah.
Kevin, what the fuck should we really be paying attention to that the search for who we are has distracted us from seeing? Talk to me about that, Kev.
Well, pretty much what's going on today. You know, they have so many distractions going on. You know, Super Bowl and the Oscars and, you know, the Grammys and all this bullshit to try to hide really what's going on with the world. I'm sure everybody's heard the conspiracy theories about one world government and things of that nature. You know, the Illuminati and all that crap.
Yeah.
But,
Give it to us
you
then.
know, the real thing is that they really are trying to link this whole thing up and shut down the system. And so while we're over here talking about this bullshit and how big Nicki Minaj's ass is and all kind of shit, they're literally forcing the world to link up. And
How are they
about to
doing
crash
that?
this system.
Are they using ISIS to do this?
ISIS is the exact thing they're using. So ISIS is like the big boogeyman in the world.
There's
We
always a
understand that, you know, before Barack Obama became president, it would have been damn near impossible to get the Arab countries to try and join with America. So you kind of had to put a figurehead in place that would be universally acceptable to try to come together with.
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
So
you know,
Obama
enter
is the
Barack
demon
Obama.
I made him out to be years ago. He is the demon. We was on Foxhole
Well, you
way
know,
back in the day. I called him a
that's
demon.
Christian spookism shit in it. But, you know, he is the dude that was placed there to bring this shit together. And so, you know, as they took out Gaddafi and, you know, Saddam Hussein and all these people who held those parts of the world together, they held them under control. They had to take those people out so that they would develop into chaos.
So
Don't y'all
so
talk
wait.
about my
They could
president.
institute this boogeyman.
So wait, Kevin, you telling me that the last people standing in the way of the New World Order was the Arab nations?
Was the Arab nations and Korea. Arab nations, Korea, and Russia. And that's why Russia, they're trying to ruin Russia's economy right now to try to pull them in, but Putin is not going for it. And then you got Kim Jong over there in Korea.
That's what the gas is
North
about.
Korea. Yeah, and then so you have all this bullshit about them hacking America and all this and that. That's just the reason so they can engage with Korea and try to shut them down.
Wait, stop. One second. Corey said something during the break about the type of movies, he put it on his Twitter, the type of movies that will get you that instantaneous Oscar nomination. What is that?
If you want an Oscar eligible movie, it has, I'm saying as far as if you want to be black at the Oscar getting an award, it has to be a movie of degradation when it comes to black people.
Yeah.
That's how you get dressed up and go to the Oscars and get an award and cry in front of the nation so they accept you with your little moist ass outfit on, trying to act like you a man, but I smell you.
Yeah.
Your temperature is frustrating to watch on television.
So listen, while we're being pulled
Oprah
in,
is the ringleader.
wow. While we being pulled into this particular kind of narrative, the dollar is being devalued, right?
The dollar.
Dollar's done.
People are
devalued.
People all over the world are asking for their gold back.
Mexico, America, and Canada to become a North American Union.
Exactly.
Which then they can unite. They're basically doing a Voltron. All over the world, they're Voltroning.
Right.
Today, the Egyptian, the president of Egypt, he called for a pan-Arab army to wash out ISIS. So now that was never heard of before. All the Arab countries coming together under one military. Come on, it's absolute bullshit that they're pulling together right now. They are doing the Voltron, and we're over here shucking and jiving and bullshit.
Right.
Paying attention to nothing.
Hey, Kev, I appreciate the call, man. I'm going to hit you after the show, man. Thanks for dropping that jewel for me, man.
Guys like you and Kevin, and anybody who is unplugged needs to be forced to be in the world for about a month so you can see how bad it is.
Oh, it's bad.
Because you're unplugged, so you're not around it every day. But when you are around the zombies, man, it's like it's the end of the fucking world right before your eyes. I was around the zombies, man. I was sad, man. I was like, wow,
I can't fuck with
up.
Yo, listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, Dr. Phil, of course, Geoff Brown, Corey Holcomb, Zoe Williams. What the fuck were we called before we submitted to all these other titles that don't even represent our true greatness? We'll be back at 2.2. So what?
I'm so sick of
Well, we had to do a Black History Month show, and this was it. The thing that really bothers me, and it's, the colorism, light skinned, dark skinned, and this is better and that's better, and half breed, and all of these terms that are out there. I don't care if you're mad. I don't care if you're frustrated. If you are spewing these kinds of words towards another black person, right? You're broken. Listen, social game rules come from your home and your society. And if colorism is in your home, then there is a social wound in the home. If colorism comes from your society, then there's a social wound in the society. You understand what I'm saying? It lets me know that you are more white than you could be black in this moment. Right? When you perpetuate colorism towards another person of color, it lets me know that you're more white than you could be black in the moment. Listen, our community lacks respect Because what we deem to, first off, respect is already subjective. But our basic concept of respect isn't self-created. Our basic concept of respect was created as a byproduct of the system that we had to adjust in order to survive in. Everything about our life is about coping. I've already said that. Coping is surviving. It's not living. So we have certain black people that reach a certain plateau that feel that I'm presentable in the eyes of the beast. I'm presentable in the eyes of the white man who wrote my definition of what success is. So being presentable in his eyes gives me the authority to look down on another brother who isn't at my level. Or so I think. Right? This is the problem with our community today. If we had respect as a religion, if we had social game rules that connected back to our original cultures, not culture, cultures. When you go to India, that's you. That's really you. White people come into India, they recontextualize it with the caste system. Darkest on the bottom, the Dashu, Sudri, untouchables, and the lightest, whitest at the top, Aryan. White people don't give a fuck about lying. They know if they say something over and over and over again, people are just gonna start believing it. Because people are dumb, essentially. People that want to be governed are dumb, essentially. So whatever the social narrative is, we're going to follow it, even if it's not the truth. Right? They'll say, oh, the Aryans came from southeast Europe. You Greek? Greece? Turkey? Where are you talking? Because if they came from Greece, wouldn't they speak Greek and not Sanskrit? What is the Greek word for Aryan? Why would they use a Sanskrit word coming from a Greek-speaking language, culture? Why would they do that? How did they become Aryan before they even got there? Do you understand? Just basic shit. All of these cultures are our culture. We started them all. But the best way to get niggas at each other's neck is to rip them, strip them of who they really are, and then let them fend for themselves to fight over an idea of success that wasn't created by them. I'm going to throw this bone out there and you niggas fight for it. That bone is the definition of success. That's Jesus. That's the 3 house. That's the 3-car garage. That's the 2.5 kids. That's the puppy. That's the suit and tie. That's the weave. That's home on Sunday for housewives or whatever. Do you understand? This is why we're broken as a people. You gonna call yourself whatever he says you should call yourself under the edict of success. Whatever he says is success. Even though the rest of the world is showing you the dollar, what you'll kill for is worth 5 cents. The dollar, worth 5 cents. Jay-Z got 500 million of them, right? Oh, he's balling. Yeah. Well, even Jay-Z in his rap was talking about changing his money, pay me in euros. But y'all wasn't paying attention to that. Y'all just want to floss. Why was he saying pay me in euros? Because euros at the time was worth more than dollars. At least he had a concept that, hey, this dollar shit that we will kill each other over ain't shit. You better get your history together. You better find out who you are. Otherwise, it's a wrap. And we don't have a lot of time. You understand? There's a reason why they got the show like Preppers on right now. Right? Most of them preppers is white folk. Somebody done told the preppers, we about to fuck this shit up. And what are the preppers saying in every show? When the gangs and the marauders come for your food, we got to be... Who are the gangs? Niggas that's unprepared. Yeah. Just niggas that wasn't ready. That got caught with their mouth open. That got caught checking traps. Got caught hustling bitches. Got caught, right? While the rest of these motherfuckers is... we got 8 years of preserves. We've got seeds. And this is our security parameter. Most of these people white. Niggas is too busy fighting and arguing with each other over dumb shit. I wish a nigga would walk up on me in person talking some dumb shit. Because I'm going to tell you what I am. I'm not a nigga that's going to have a conversation with you in person about dumb shit. If you walk up on me in person about some dumb shit, nigga, prepare to knuckle up. That's just prepare to knuckle up. I'm going to fight you, nigga. Because talking to you is a waste of my time. Fighting you gets you out of my way quicker. It's just that simple. I'm Zoe Williams, and that's my final thought, motherfuckers. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. It's just how it's got to be right now. Brother Phil, you know I appreciate you, brother. As much as we can get you on the show, we're going to get you on the show because we need that insight, that information. We need that knowledge. How can they find you real quick?
800-847-1291. 800-847-1291. If they're interested in joining our university, the next semester begins this coming March the 7th. Registration and enrollment are now underway. They simply call that number and we will get back to them ASAP.
Please support my brother, Dr. Phil Valentine. Thanks once again, brother, for being on the show. Corey Holcomb, where can they find us next, man?
I'll be hanging out in Boston next weekend, Saturday night, the Wilbur Theater. And I want to say this, Zoe Williams is a plus for society, not just black people, for society. And anybody who try to take that away, that's a hoe-ass motherfucker.
Uh-oh.
Anybody who try to take that away.
Okay. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that, brother. Geoff Brown. Wow.
I can't say I disagree. I can't say, yeah, that's about right. I will be at the Melrose Improv tonight. Go to miptags.com, miptags.com/Geoff Brown to get a hold of all my merchandise.
Yes, and of course, put up the website, man. Please go to Indiegogo and support our movement. We're going to push out this book I've been telling you guys about. It's an incredible relationship book called The Relationship Dismount. 12 chapters of how to end a relationship properly, man, how to stick the landing. It's an incredible book. I want to be able to put it out there and have it supported by a relationship tour where we come out and we do seminars and we break the book down for you. It's a powerful movement. Go to Indiegogo. What is the website? Indiegogo.com, Zoe Williams Morning Show and Relationship Book Dismount Tour. It's incredible, man, what we're trying to do. We're also trying to do a documentary based off of a topic I created 5 years ago on the Foxhole. The first time I did the topic was March 4th, 2010. Biting ass niggas out there stealing my topics.
Of course.
Pay-per-view. I created it. You know, we doing a documentary on the child support system, right? On the family court system. I don't know what other niggas is doing. This is what I'm doing.
It's a lot of people watch your show and try to become Zoe Williams. You have to understand that. It's not going to stop.
More like Ho Williams.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. That's what we doing with this documentary.
What about the 5150 tomorrow? Everybody got to watch the 5150
Oh, yeah,
tomorrow.
we gonna go in tomorrow.
Oh,
we're going to show out tomorrow.
Well, imitation is the sincerest form of bitch-assness.
Oh, damn. Wow.
Yeah.
And so it is. And so it is. But listen, that's what we're trying to do. Please support the Indiegogo movement. What'd you say? Oh, Dash Radio. Oh, March 2nd. The Voice of Reason returns to Dash Radio. We have a date, man. The name of the name of the station I'll be on is called Hot Button Radio, because we got all the hot button topics. The name of my show is The Voice of Reason. You got to download the Dash Radio app on Apple or Google Play, man. We're going to get in. We're going to make it crack. That's it. Today's show was crazy. I'll holler at y'all next week with another barn burner. The voice of reason, so what? We out. Deuces.
Come on, I can't breathe. Come on, I can't breathe. I got post-traumatic stress disorder, high blood pressure, a prescription for medical marijuana. I just quit smoking Newports and now I eat twice as much as I used to and cuss niggas out for no reason. My woman always be bitching about me taking her out, but I'm broke. Only got enough money to eat and to smoke. If not, somebody might get choked out. I keep a shotgun loaded right next to my bed and a machete under my pillow up under my head. I don't take threats lightly, but I be paying attention. I remember what that motherfucker said. I remember the nigga when his ass is dead. I be putting something to that head, saying talk now. Is you really ready to walk that walk now? I'm going home tonight, fuck what you say. My nigga, is you about me?
You are watching T Radio Me, Radio MTV.